We're going to start talking about Kalvin Phillips. Now, firstly, what do you make of Kalvin Phillips as a player? Were you surprised when Man City signed him? When they signed him, did you think they're going to get a player that they're going to use, or was he a squad player? Are you surprised Leeds let him go?
Do you know what? When I first saw Kalvin Phillips at Leeds, I remember thinking, wow, like, who's this kid? And then he got to the first team, was playing really, really well. And then there was not a rumour, but I think there was an international cancelled or something.
There's what? An international?
Or there was a game or an international, or something happened.
Yeah.
Because Gareth Southgate was about to call him up while he was in the Championship with Leeds.
Yes.
Right? Something happened, he didn't get to play. And then he got the move to Manchester City, and I thought, I quite like this because he's a good player, done really well for England in the Euros, played a key part, even set up one of the goals. Sterling in the opening game against Croatia, if I can remember rightly, played well. But since then, he hasn't kicked the ball. Now, for him, it's a really unique and difficult position for him to be in. One, because he's not playing games. But on the flip side, he's at the best team in the world. On the planet, now it's factual now. They've won the best team in the world. It's not really enhancing him. It's not really doing him any damage not playing for England because Gareth Southgate was going to pick him. So is there any really burning ambition for himself to get out and play games? Really? Is there for him to leave the best team on the planet, training with them players, with the best manager in the world? Is there a burning ambition for him to go out there and play regular football knowing that Gareth will pick him anyway? Or does he give it one more year and then go, you know what, I've won the treble, I've won another Premier League, I've won whatever else they're going to win this year. Now it's time for me to go and play football. Does he sacrifice this 2 years, 2.5 years to win everything to then go somewhere else, a lesser club, because it will be lesser, and go and play football again?
It must be very difficult if you're 27 years old and you're in the prime of your career and you've just won the treble and the Super Cup as well. Yeah. Last season for Man City, he played 153 minutes.
Nothing.
He joined Man City on July the 4th of last year. 13 appearances. I mean, nothing.
But do you know what's hard about that? Is because you're right, it's nothing. The amount of appearances he's made there, I mean, he was playing all the time for Leeds, but them appearances you're talking about there, within that, he's won everything, all the trophies there is to win. So it must be incredibly difficult for himself because what he doesn't want to do, and I understand this part, is that he's not better than Rodri. Rodri is their guy.
No, but not many are.
You're correct. It's one of them where he's got to weigh up in his head, right, I really want to go and play football somewhere. I'm better than a bit part player because I think he is better than that. But do I want to leave a club like Manchester City because they are competing on all fronts for everything? I know maybe not the League Cup now, they've just gone out. After he got an opportunity, they've just gone out. So it must be difficult for him to go, do you know what, let me take a step backwards and go to a club like, I don't know, to step back, Brighton. Great club, but it's a step down from Manchester City. That's not disrespectful to say that. Do I go to Brighton and play week in, week out, and maybe that winning everything, that winning mentality, not winning mentality, but that competing for all the major trophies goes? Which is why I think he might just give it one more year and go, do you know what, let me win a few more trophies and then I can't sit on the bench for another year.
You've got players like Raheem Sterling, who of course won most of it, or didn't win everything, but most of it, and then has gone to Chelsea. Some would argue that's not necessarily a step down. It is at the moment because of the gulf between the two, but he's still gone to one of the superstars in Chelsea. But again, it's not really worked for him. So he's had that moment in the sun, and now has he stepped down? Has he gone to a...
Yeah, Chelsea's a step down from City in terms of, maybe not size of the club. I think Chelsea are a bigger club than City. That's just fact. They've won more trophies. Maybe not one more Premier Leagues, but more European trophies than Manchester City. But at the time Sterling went to Chelsea, it wasn't supposed to be this bad, was it? Chelsea were not supposed to... He was supposed to be one of their main signings to propel them back to where they wanted to get to, and it hasn't worked. So for Sterling, it's a bit of a mad one because he played key parts in them winning Premier League titles, FA Cups,
even the last
League
one,
Cups.
the crosses coming in on the last day of the season.
Exactly, he played big parts in that. For someone like Kalvin Phillips, he's got a big decision to make at some stage because in that centre of the part for England is starting to become really loaded. By the way, you've got the likes of Rice, Bellingham, Maddison, Mason Mount looks like he's going to get a bit of form at United.
Even Foden can play there. Yeah,
there's people in there now. All of a sudden, Eberechi Eze now is playing week in, week out. There's players in there now. All of a sudden, you go,
where's he going to fit? Okay, with that number 6 role then that you're alluding to, there aren't that many. No. When you're a good number 6, like we've seen with Chelsea, paid over 100 million. Arsenal, with of course Declan Rice, 100 million. So if you're good in that role, people are crying out for a decent player in there.
Exactly.
Do you think he needs to move? Because you've just alluded to the fact there's a big fight for places for that England midfield.
Yeah,
we've got the Euros coming up. Do you think he needs to move if he's going to have a chance to get into that Euro?
No, because I think Gav's already shown. Look at the Maguire situation. Wasn't playing, picked him. Kalvin Phillips wasn't playing, picked him over Ward-Prowse, who's playing really well. Like, listen, fast forward a few months. If Ward-Prowse is flying, Maddison, Foden and Kalvin Phillips is not playing, the gaff's got a big decision to make, but I still think Gareth would still pick him. So I think that's why I think he'll give it another year, go to the Euros of England, and then if it hasn't progressed at Manchester City, go, do you know what, enough's enough, let me go elsewhere.
Henderson, a prime example, right?
Yeah.
He's playing his football over in Saudi.
But he won everything.
Yeah.
Playing a key part in all of these things.
Yeah, very much so. 2 big games coming up for Kalvin Phillips and for Man City. Of course, he'll be playing. Rodri won't be. Away at Wolves and Arsenal. Has he got a point to prove in these? Can he... By saying, can he force his way into that Man City side? It's very difficult. I know that.
He's not out in Rodri.
But no, of course he's not. But what he needs to do is perform to the highest level in these 2.
He needs to show Pep that, okay, maybe I can trust him a bit more.
Maybe I can do something like a bit with Stones, where he thought maybe he's not necessarily the centre half I want, but I'm gonna build him into like a Franz Beckenbauer type of player.
Especially when you hear Pep's comments about him when he did that interview in the Sky, was it? And he just basically said he's not been able to get out of Kalvin Phillips what Marcelo Bielsa managed to get out of him. That's a little bit damning. That's a little bit like that's not Pep giving up, but he's almost saying that the way that Marcelo Bielsa played, he was fantastic in that system, but he hasn't quite got to grips with our system. Now, if I'm Kalvin Phillips, I'm using these 2 games to play as well as I can, doing everything I can. And then hopefully, with a bit of luck, you get more game time. But I think come the end of this season, he's got decisions to make. Okay. If it doesn't go well.
talkSPORT Drive. Super opinionated sporting debate. Monday to Friday afternoon from 4. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.